to be making soap dough today, and this is going to be my own recipe, but if you want to purchase it pre-made, Sorcery Soap does sell it, and she's the queen of everything soap dough. Anyway, this is the fourth time that I have made soap dough with one of my recipes, I should say, and it is that time of year where I need to make some more, and this amount does make me quite a bit that lasts a long time, because it's not something where I make a big old one batch of soap with all my soap dough. It's used in little bits in different batches. So anyway, as you can see, I've got a rainbow of colors here. Hopefully you can see them all. And I have them spaced out because that's the order that I'm going to mix them in, so that I'm not going back and forth on the colors. So I'm going to start out with a pearly white and then go on through the grays and then through the rainbow. So I'm not going to be jumping back and forth because I have my little hand blender that I'll be using as well. Now I have two containers of oils here, and I just want to kind of show the color difference. I hope you can see it. This is the one that I'm going to be using. It is actually half of a typical recipe, so this would make like one loaf of soap for me. This would make two. So if you can see the color difference. Now both of these, I'm going to be using this in obviously a separate batch here in a second, but this one is a lot lighter, and you want to use a well-behaved, slow-moving recipe and light colors, because you don't want those, some oils can cause some discoloration or darkening of your batch. So this one is lard, which is a beautifully white soap. It also has castor oil, olive oil, and coconut oil in it. Now with this one is tallow. It doesn't usually have put shea butter in, but I didn't put shea butter in either one of these just because of what I'm making. And shea butter can also cause things to harden a little bit. So with this one, I'm doing tallow, and then the olive oil I used was actually a darker olive oil. So sometimes when you get olive oil, sometimes you get a really light batch, which I did. I got about 6 bottles that were super light colored, so I've been saving those to use in those soaps that I want to have a really nice white without adding anything extra. And then this one was just a typical olive oil. Usually if you get like an extra virgin, it'll have more of a green color. Now tallow, depending on the age of the animal, how it was fed, that can also depend on the color. So leaf lard is very, very white. The tallow I actually processed some a couple months ago, and some of it was very, very white, and some of it was more of a yellow color, so that can vary. And I use the exact same method. I got it from a local processor. So anyway, I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to finish getting everything set up with this. My colors, I just have a little bit of water in them. I didn't want to add any more oils to it. So I have just a teaspoon of water in each one of these, 1/8 of a teaspoon of my micas. And here, like I said, I already have the olive oil, lard, castor oil, and coconut oil. Now for my water, my lye ratio, typically I do 1.5 times my lye amount. So I have the 1 part lye, 1.5 parts of the distilled water or other liquid that I'm using. For this, I do want more water, and I'm going to be using 2 times. So it'll be 1 part lye, 2 parts water, and then a little bit extra actually. So it's going to be closer to about 2.5 through the whole batch once I get all that extra liquid mixed in. Now, once I am done stirring it, so this one, which is the lard, will last a long time, the trace. So I'll have plenty of time to pour and mix every single one of these, and this will still be nice and pliable. I have done, what's it called? Palm oil, sustainable palm. I actually phased that out. Sustainable palm, I've done that before, and it was really tough towards the end because it started thickening up. And again, using shea butter, that starts to thicken things up. So with my molds, after I do each one, I'm going to pour each one individually into all of these, and I'll have a little bit left over that I'll just use for a natural color that I can add or use in other ones. Oh, and then lastly, once I'm done pouring them, I will cover them tightly, and they will sit for 3 days. I'm not going to touch them. I'm not going to open them. They're going to be tight. I am actually not going to gel them because that can cause some wonky things, and sometimes it can make your soap harder. There's some back and forth on that theory. I like to gel my soaps personally, but when I do the soap dough, I don't gel it. So I'm going to cover it with some plastic wrap, cover it tightly, and then I'll come back in 3 days, and then I will knead it. You want to knead each one of those, and then you cover it again, so it's going to be ready to use once that part is done. And when I store it, I tightly wrap every single one in some plastic wrap. I know I don't like to use plastic. I like to be as sustainable as possible, but this is when I do use it, and it lasts a long time. So I will tightly wrap every single one, and then I will double bag it into a zippered type bag, and then I'll store it somewhere out of the sun, and then I get it out whenever I'm ready to use it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this out of the way, finish getting prepped up, give these all a little mix, and then we'll be ready to go.